Welcome to episode 222 of the Thunder Underground podcast. Trent and Jason here, and this week we are bringing you our Rocklahoma 2019 review. This is the first time we've sat down and done this in 2 months.
I know.
Is that right?
I know. It's back in the podcast saddle again.
Right.
It's been a crazy 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months. Yeah, it fucking has been.
Because it was the 1st or 2nd of April, and here we are, the 2nd of June.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it because the first month we kind of stacked the shit, so we had stuff to go for April.
Yeah.
In May, we just blew out May because there's so much crazy shit going on.
Yeah.
You know, but.
Just a couple, I think, in that time period.
Yeah, but we're back, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, if you've been listening, there has been episodes. Like Jason said, we had all the April ones pre-recorded, and then that last one before Rocklahoma, I just did by myself.
Yeah.
And then, so here we are.
We're
ready to do it again.
Yep.
And as always, we got to talk about Rocklahoma after it happens.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, we are sponsored by MedFarm and DEB Concerts. MedFarm is a dispensary located in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Get out there and tell them that you heard about them on our podcast, and they will give you 10% off your order, which is awesome. They were also out at Rocklahoma as well.
Yes.
They were set up over there, I know, by the Proving Grounds. I don't know if they had another booth somewhere else, but so very cool with kind of them and our other sponsor, DEB, everybody involved out there.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, get in there. They've got a huge selection. They've got a doctor on site every Friday and Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. if you need to get a card. 30% of their profits go to help build no-kill animal shelters in this area, which is a huge, cool thing that most businesses don't do. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, very cool to be involved with them because of that. And also they're great people. So get by there, say hey, and once again, tell them that we sent you. Find them online on Facebook, MedPHARM, and then on Instagram at MedFarmOK. And their website is also medfarmok.com. DEB Concerts. They keep bringing in the great acts to IDO. They brought in stuff like Sebastian Bach, Saxon, Striper, Steelheart. I'm just trying to think of it. It starts with an S. Yeah.
Warrant. That starts with an S, right?
Right. Firehouse starts with an S. Jack Russell's Great White. Beasto Blanco. Many, many more. But this Saturday night, or no, hold it. Am I right? Yeah, that's actually this Saturday night. It's already coming up. June 8th.
June 8th, yeah.
Lynch Mob will be at the Ideal Ballroom.
With Andrew Freeman from Last in Line will be on vocals.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's amazing.
He was on Eddie Trunk the other day, and
that dude's voice is amazing.
Yeah, he was asked, who's singing for you now? And he said, I've got like a stable, like 4 singers that I just plug in wherever they're available. And this run is going to be Andrew Freeman. I'm like, I thought that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Which, it's funny because you remember the first, I don't know, probably both times we talked about Last in Line albums. I was like, this dude reminds me of Oni Logan at times.
There you go.
He's got that same kind of bluesy, soulful voice, and so this will work perfect.
Yeah. George Lynch also made fun of Eddie Trunk for being a name dropper.
Did he really?
Yeah.
That's good.
He was talking about, he was asking him about KXM because, I was at Rocklahoma this past weekend talking to Ray Loosier, and George Lynch just interrupted him and said, name dropper. And, you could tell he was trying to be kidding around, but of course, Mr. Trunk wasn't having it. He just silent pause and just went on.
Yeah.
That's just one thing you can't fuck with.
Yeah,
him.
You can't call out Eddie Trunk on all his name drops.
But hey, we love Eddie Trunk. It's just funny,
Yeah.
Busting balls.
He'll be hosting that Lynch Mob
show.
He'll
be hosting it. So everybody get out there. It's going to be a fun time. And, I have always said I'm not a huge Dawkins fan, but if George Lynch is in the building, which I know he hasn't been in Dawkins for a while, I know it's all, but it ties in. You got to see this guy. He's just an amazing guitar player. Just to stand there and watch his fingers. He doesn't use a lot of the same, fucking caveman chords. I mean, he's one of the most interesting guitar players out there.
Yeah, and personally, I was always just kind of an average Dokken fan, but I'm a huge Lynch Mob fan.
Yeah, you love fucking Lynch Mob, yeah.
You know, back in the day, if someone would say, what's your favorite Dokken album? I would say Wicked Sensation.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, I don't give a shit.
That was a great... I remember when we were kids borrowing that from you and hating that I had to give it back.
Right? But yeah, so that will be at the Ideal Ballroom June 8th with our good friends in Severmind and Poster Child.
Yes.
Both great bands. So get out there, check that out. June 8th, Ideal Ballroom, brought to you by DEB Concerts. And like Jason said, Andrew Freeman from Last in Line on vocals. You can't go wrong.
I bet Jason Carroll will love that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so speaking of DEB Concerts, they were also had a major part in Rocklahoma this year.
Definitely.
Because Doug and DEB Concerts booked all the acts for the D&B Processing Roadhouse stage.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about all that here in a bit as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess we can now just jump right into it, right?
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Rocklahoma 2019 is the 13th Rocklahoma.
Yeah.
And we have been fortunate enough to be at all 13 of these Rocklahomas now. Since 2007, when it kicked off in the heat of July, up till now.
Up to now.
And every one of them has been great in its own right. And every one of them has a little bit different feel, I think. Just not the music-wise, just based off the vibe, I think. And this one, to me, overall, seemed a little weird, and not weird, just like a little, just the whole, when I look back on it, the whole vibe of the whole thing was a little different, and I think it was because of all the storm warnings and just shit going on. It seemed like, you know, usually that happens like once, maybe twice, but it happened like, 4 times? I think.
I mean, it's like, fuck.
And it was just like a part of it, you know, and so, I mean, it kind of was like a mood killer at times, but at times not, because people would just kind of party through the storms if you're hanging out.
Yeah, I mean,
in shelter, wherever you're at, you know.
Right when Mel and I got there, like I told you, I had 3 legs down on the RV, and there go the sirens, and we had to shag ass to the shower houses and stand in there. And I mean, I didn't even have any time to grab a beer to take with me or anything, so that put me in a bad mood, you know. And it was just, it was just right from the get go. Storms pounding up your ass, take shelter. I mean, it was a stressful evening. As you could tell later on when I went off on my Mariah Carey diva fit, but that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was just,
I've got audio of it I'm going to play on this podcast.
Yes. Just like that old Iron Maiden B-side of them fighting. And then I remember even later on that night in the RV hearing fucking sirens going off again.
Yeah.
And we're like, fuck it. We're trying to get some sleep or whatever was going on. It's just, you know, and that was just the first of many, many warnings and sirens and whatever. But the cool thing about it all was it never interfered with the bands.
Yeah. Yeah, surprisingly, that whole weekend, it never. The only
it was
time
like
I ever
late at night or whatever.
Yeah, the only time I remember it even raining during a band was Shinedown, and that was for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean that first day I worked and I did load in.
Yeah. With
the VIP stuff, and you know, so we were kind of stuck back there and seeked shelter there for a couple hours, and you know, once I got out of there, everybody was back to partying. So that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
And you can tell kind of whenever you're in these places, like the people that are from Oklahoma and people aren't. Because like you said, you hear sirens going off, you're like, screw it, I'm going to get some sleep.
Yeah.
Whereas other people are like kind of, you know, on edge the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, because they never deal with that kind of stuff wherever they're from.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, and all that rain made for some amazing mud.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was great. Can I tell my mud wrestling story?
Giant ruts. Yeah, of course.
That I told you last night?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
This is, you know, I don't know that you could find this at any other rock festival. This is something that we hang our hat on. ladies and gentlemen, we're very proud of in Oklahoma. Now I was, Melissa's in one of those closed Facebook Rocklahoma groups. I can't remember which one. It's one I was never in. I can't remember. There's a million of them. Somebody posted a video of, two, large women. I don't know what the politically correct word is. I mean, I'm a big guy too, so I don't know what word I use. Fuck it. But they were naked.
Completely naked?
Yes.
Okay.
Completely naked, rolling around mud wrestling and all that shit. And it's just like, wow. Well, all right. There's that. That was happening.
Yeah. In the cow pasture.
Yeah, in the cow pasture. So.
Which that's not a joke, people.
It's not. So, I hope I hope they didn't get any kind of infections in any crevices. But I'm sure the alcohol, helped them through it.
Yeah.
Or whatever the fuck else they were on. Jesus Christ.
So Rocklahoma 2020, you're going to mud wrestle someone, right?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
Okay. My days of being drunkenly naked in front of people are long gone.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. Long gone. We don't need to relive any of that. No one wants to know about that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's just a great example of, just some of the charm you'll see when you come to Rocklahoma, everybody.
Yeah. It's like going to the fair on steroids.
I'm telling you. Maggie said it best. Redneck Coachella.
That's right. Right. So one of those days, I think it was probably actually Friday, Janna played the National Anthem.
Mm-hmm.
Kicked off the...
From Down for Five and Rocket Science.
Oh, yeah. I guess I should say that for
our friend
people.
Janna. Yes.
To kick off the festivities, basically, on the main stage there, so it would have been around probably 3 to 3:30 there. Mm-hmm. Which was really cool, because I feel like... I know they used to do that, like back in the first few years.
Yeah.
Like every day they would have a different guitarist from just one of the bands come out and do that. And I don't know if they still do it. I've missed it. But that's the only one I knew about this weekend, too.
Yeah.
So I think it was probably would have been... So maybe I'm jumping ahead here, but just wanted to throw that in.
Would everyone please rise for our national anthem?
Janna, of course, is amazing, and they played the Thursday night on the pre-party Rocket Science did at the Roadhouse, which was a new stage out there. It's technically the stage that D&B Processing sponsored the last couple years. That was the Retrospect stage.
Yeah.
It just got moved to a different location. They put a tent over the top of it. And so it had the same sound system and everything from what I've heard, and it sounded great. And that first night had Slaughter as the headliner. So this is where I've got to say, of all the bands that we're going to talk about, I saw all of Slaughter, but I can't really remember much of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Rocklahoma for you, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say, like, other than we've seen Slaughter. They're great. I remember, like, getting there, and I remember thinking Mark Slaughter sounded good from where I was at, but I can't really point anything else out other than that, being honest.
Well, I mean, I walked up, I think, right as the opening song was going on. I mean, I remember it, but it was so packed.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where I was back so far, you couldn't really see a lot. You could just kind of see their heads.
Yeah.
I mean, you could hear it. Everything was great. They had a great set list. They played all the shit you wanted them to play. And Mark Slaughter did that. He sounded great.
Yeah.
So the only thing I noticed, it seemed like Zoltan was a little bit more reserved than he usually is.
Really?
But I don't know. Maybe it was just I couldn't see that well.
Right.
So, but hey, it's Slaughter. They're great. They're one of my favorite bands. So It was great to see them. And, to still be able to hit all those notes, man, Mark Slaughter.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
And the fact, like you said, that it was packed out, like,
yes.
I knew there would be a
really
good crowd,
cool.
But just to see, like, how big the crowd was,
Yeah,
like,
that
it was
awesome.
like, yeah, you had to, like, once you got into the Roadhouse area, because it had, like, a kind of a fence thing around it.
Yeah.
You had to, like, work your way through to even find a spot.
Yeah,
it wasn't even in that back area, which I thought was really good.
Yeah. Well, I got to a point where, like, okay, I'm not going to try to get any farther up. There's too many people. And then I looked behind me, and Jason Carroll was behind me, so I just stood with him
the
rest of the show. But it was, it sounded great, and I'm so glad they were there.
Yeah, and speaking of Mark Slaughter, just a few episodes ago,
we had him on the show.
He was on this podcast.
That's right.
So back in April, if you haven't heard that one, dig it up. It's a cool conversation with Mark Slaughter.
Exactly.
But yeah, but before that, on Thursday, we were over at the Proving Ground stage, which is another new stage. This was one of the campground stages, and this was put together by Murdoch Productions, Steve Murdoch. And the first thing we got to say is this is a great fucking stage, a great setup.
Yeah, Murdoch busted his ass.
Yeah.
It looked great. It sounded great. Top notch. Everything was, it was what it should have been and what you expected. It was more than what you expected. Yeah,
before I even got over there, you had told me, CJ and Paulette had told me, a couple of people had came by and said, I went over and saw Proving Grounds.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't think it would be as big as Axis, because I thought, well, it's Steve's first year, he'll bring it in, and next year jump up, and no, he just went straight up.
Yeah.
Like you would expect Steve Murdoch to do.
Yeah, Murdoch's not fucking around.
Yeah, so it basically did what Axis did and had a massive stage, a massive sound system, and a huge tented area.
Exactly.
So it was great, and I'm really happy that he made this happen, and we got the chance to get over there on the pre-party.
Yes.
And you actually got out there earlier than I did.
Yeah, I saw Nameless Society, which I've seen them before at the Shrine. They're great. If you like your rock with some hip hop in it, this is your band.
Yeah. So good stuff. And then I don't know if there was someone in there we missed, but then I got over there. Well, obviously we missed Custom Black.
Yeah, I know. That sucked.
Like we
talked to him, we worked it out, we explained it. The times got flipped up.
Yeah.
Messed up, So,
I don't know if someone had ended up dropping off or whatever because they bumped everybody up.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, we missed Custom Black, who's a great band you need to check out if you get the chance. Great kind of stonery, doomy, Sabbathy band from Missouri. Burdens Within was on, and that's another great metal band. I wasn't real familiar with them before that, and getting a chance to check them out, it's always fun when you run across someone you've never seen. Of course. So very cool to see Burdens Within. So check them out if you're not familiar. And then they were followed up by Machine in the Mountain.
The motherfucking Machine.
Yeah, that's
They're
a good
back.
way to put it.
Yeah. They've done a gig or two since, but this is awesome to see.
Yeah.
New bass player, everyone knows what happened there and what's going on. We don't need to get into it. So it's good to see them moving on and, not letting anything get them down or stop them. And, they're just as powerful as they ever were.
Yeah. Just a phenomenal band. We've sang their praises for the last few years.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Whether it be on album, which you need to check out all their EPs, or live, they're the best of the best.
Yeah.
They're one
insane.
of my favorite bands in this region. So Machine in the Mountain, any chance you get, check them out. And they're all great dudes and girl now. So it's very cool to get to see them on that Rocklahoma stage at a prime spot there. What was it, around 7 or 8, I think?
I think so, yeah.
And they did a great job. So very glad. So that was kind of Thursday in a nutshell, I guess.
Yep.
As far as bands go for me.
Pretty much.
Okay, so Friday is the first official full day of the festival. Which another thing to point out is I think it might have been that Friday when Jason Carroll I saw, we keep bringing him up, posted that it's time that Rocklahoma starts calling this a 4-day festival.
Yeah.
Because that pre-show is so good, and it's always been. Everybody always loves the
Exactly.
pre-shows that Axis did and
Yeah.
Dark Side does, and now Proving Grounds, and of course now with the Roadhouse, D&B Processing. So yeah, and the only way you can go to those shows is if you have a 3-day pass as well.
Yeah.
But Friday, the first thing that I saw, I believe you saw, was Grind.
Yes.
Kicking off the Zen stage,
Our
which
buddies
is
in Grind, yes.
the new name for the second stage. New sponsor, Zen, not to be confused with Zen Hipster. This is some kind of smoke-free tobacco.
There you go.
Zen Hipster's into smoke tobacco, not the free channel.
But Grind put on a great show. They turned in it was great to see them on a big stage.
Yes.
They deserve all that. That was awesome.
Yeah, what I want to say is it's really cool because when you think up to that point, 2-3 years ago now, Less Than Human was on that stage.
Yeah.
And if I'm not forgetting anybody, and that goes clear back to when Down for Five was on the main stage in 2008 or something, or 7 or 8. And then I can't think of any other time of these, these bands that we know from this area that have been on either that second stage or the main stage. It's always been on Axis or now the DVD Processing, which is great in its own right.
Yes.
But to be on that second stage where Grind was, that's kind of what I was just watching it and just this is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
this
it's
is
awesome.
To see someone, that we champion and that champions us as well. And
that's right.
Just like you said, 4 dudes that deserve to be up there.
That's right. Rock and roll brethren.
Yeah. And I was talking to CJ later and I thought it was funny because it's he wasn't doing the normal CJ jumping around in kicks and stuff. And he said that because he walked out on that stage and it was slick as fuck, which I don't know. He said it was just weird. So he said, I just played it cool so I wouldn't bite at my ass. So there you go, if you wondered why I didn't do it. But he did do it when they played the Roadhouse.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
But so, yeah, Grind got to play out there twice in the same day, which is another amazing feat that most people can't or probably no one can fucking really claim.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the first band on the main stage that we're going to talk about is the Glorious Sons, right?
Yeah, from Canada.
So I didn't see them. You did.
Oh, they were great. The guy came out in a big, long, gray trench coat. Dude, you're not...
that felt good.
You're not in Canada right now, so you're probably really hot. But no, they were great. Everyone knows that hit song. I don't even know what it's called.
Yeah, I can't remember the name either. What about the Taxman?
Yeah, maybe that's what it's called. But they did that. What I thought was cool is they did that in the middle of their set. They didn't close with it or anything.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was awesome. But they got a good, just an organic rock sound, and they put in a good 30-minute set. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and we know a small contingent of people from Canada that come down every year for Rocklahoma.
Yes. Yeah.
So I wonder,
awesome.
Hopefully they were over there supporting as well.
Yeah.
Well, Alien Weaponry was next up on the side stage, the Zen stage.
And they kicked ass.
Yeah, this was one of the top my top 3 or 4 things I was most excited about, and they didn't disappoint.
No, it was great. It was just, just real, gang vocally powerful, thrashy at times.
Yeah, just 3 dudes.
Yeah, just raw heavy metal.
Yeah, just lay it out there, and it's just like, it's like you mentioned early on when you were talking about them. It's that Sepultura Roots vibe, but not really sounding like that at all. Just kind of because it's that tribal feel to the metal.
Yeah.
And another,
they bring their ancestry into it, which I think is a really cool twist.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're speaking a language that most everybody they're ever going to play for won't know.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But still people are singing along.
Yeah.
Because, you've heard some of these songs many times now. And, I was talking to Devin from Sign of Lies the next day, actually, about it. And he pointed out something which I hadn't really thought about. He's like, when I hear these guys, I don't feel like they're really that heavy as far as, like, when you think of thrash or something.
Yeah.
But it's just the aura of, like, their tribal and everything that just makes it feel even heavier than the guitar actually is.
Yeah.
Which is a good
I get
good
that,
point.
totally. Yeah, that is a good point.
But, yeah, so Alien Weaponry, if you're not familiar with them, 3 kids from New Zealand, and they're all under 18 still, right?
Yeah, get into it.
Yeah, you got to check these guys out.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the point in the program where if you're a fan of Fever 333, you might want to skip forward about a couple minutes.
Yeah, just next. That's all I want to say.
No, I want to say it. I don't.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
We tend to do that next thing, It's like, we're not going to talk about something if we don't like it. But I feel the need to talk about this.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to blow it off. Because I heard their music before, I didn't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it. That's fine, whatever. But I kept seeing people talk about how great this band is live.
Yeah.
And in the week before, I saw that video from Sonic Temple, and I was like, is this really what people are going on about? Sure, it's cool when someone gets into the crowd or people are, involved, the fans in it, do stuff you don't normally see. I like that when, you see it from Papa Roach, you see it from Mark Slaughter.
Yeah.
Whoever, Gavin Rossdale does it. It's cool when bands do that, and this guy does something like that every show, which I have no problem with.
He has to, because there's nothing else.
Yeah. It's like
sorry, but there's not.
It's like Motley Crue. If you didn't have the stage show, you'd be, like, what the fuck's going on? Because this vocalist sucks dick. Well, this dude from Fever 333 is like at Sonic Temple walking around. The vocals are still going and the mic's not even near his mouth and he's not even moving. I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, see, that's what I don't understand, because the vocals were not what I had a problem with. I mean, the guy was just screaming, whatever.
No, like it was pre-recorded vocals.
Well,
it wasn't even, it's not fine. That's like pre-recorded tracks for like background noise are cool. Guitar tracks are borderline shitty. But vocal tracks, if you're not like trying to put in gang vocals, for a 3-piece or something, is fucking stupid.
I understand that, but it didn't look to me like he was lip syncing at Rocklahoma.
I don't think he was
because it sounded screaming.
It sounded bad.
Yeah.
I don't think he was there. I'm just saying that video I saw, which got me even more negative about it.
Oh yeah. I know. I totally understand. The thing that got me was, wow, there's bass going on, but there's no bass player.
Right. So there's like a bass track. Yeah. We know there's other tracks, and I think there's a vocal track, and then even on top of that, he's not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dude,
it was just ridiculous to me. I'm like, why are so many people high on this band?
Dude, you got fucking 70-year-old men out there going out and playing clubs, playing live every night.
Yeah.
Take your fucking tracks and shove them up your ass.
Yeah.
That's one of the fucking problems here with what's going on with new music. The track fest, fuck off with that shit.
Well, on the flip side of the track fest,
I don't give a shit if he runs out in the crowd or whatever. Fuck off, Get a fucking bass player, Jesus Christ. You're insulting everybody's intelligence.
Yeah.
And you're ripping people off of money, I think. I really think so. So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you owe Tom Morello some money.
Yeah, no shit. Jesus Christ. Next.
But on the flip side of all that tracks, negativity, bullshit, was Pepper Keenan and Corrosion of Conformity.
And the greatness that band is.
The redemption.
Now that's a band, yeah.
So going back, I used to tell you, before Pepper rejoined the band, I'd made that joke that like every day when I wake up, I'm like, maybe this is the day that Pepper rejoins COC.
Yeah.
So we flash forward. We've seen him live several times since he's rejoined. that we've got an album now.
Yeah.
We've had
Goddamn,
Mike
we
Dean.
had
We've
two of them on the podcast. Yeah.
Since he's come back, we've had Mike Dean and Reed Mullen on the podcast.
Yeah.
And the last 2 or 3 years, I joked, because I thought I was joking, when at the end of these episodes, it'd be like, so who do you think would be cool to see next year at Rocklahoma? And I'd always say Corrosion of Conformity, never thinking that was really going to happen. And then this year, the lineup got announced, and then they weren't on it. But then, like a month later, when they added like 4 or 5 bands, like Slaughter, Hatebreed, Pop Evil, and COC, and I was like, wow, this is not something I ever expected.
I know.
And here they are, and this statement may be biased as fuck, but they were the best band on this festival.
Yeah, they were.
30 minutes. It was the best 30 minutes of Rocklahoma 2019.
Yeah, it was the best 30 minutes.
There was other things that are extremely close.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, that was the 30 minutes that I was lost, and it felt like 4 minutes, you know?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, and what they decided to play during that 30 minutes. I mean, it's just like, shit like this is just good for the soul.
Yeah.
It's good to see it. It puts you, it centers you.
Yeah. Well, we were dorking out, and beforehand, you're like, hey, you know, here's COC's set list, and you named off like 5 or 6 songs, and that sounded what it would be. Yeah. And we get over there, and they're like, nah, fuck it. We're going to play Diablo Boulevard.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we're going to play, The Door. I'm like, what the fuck? They didn't even play a song from the new album. They didn't play Vote with a Bullet, you know? So it's just like stuff that is staples of their set list. They pulled out for like 2 songs that aren't.
Yeah.
That are 2 of my favorite songs there. So I'm just like, this is my rock, my hashtag my Rocklahoma.
Yes, exactly. I agree. This is definitely the side of Rocklahoma that I love and would love to see more of. And
the other thing to point out was the atmosphere over there was way better than I expected.
Yeah.
I knew there'd be a good crowd. You know, they're a legendary name. And, you know, everybody, even if they don't follow all their stuff, know Clean My Wounds and Albatross.
Yes.
But I mean, there were people over there, and it was packed out, and people were fucking loving it, and people were singing along to other songs besides those 2, and I'm like, man, this is...
It was great.
This is what you want. Yeah, this is what you hope for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, so who else do we have that day? Lita Ford was before that, actually.
Okay. I did not see Lita Ford, so that's all you.
I didn't see a lot of Lita Ford because, once again, like Slaughter, it was packed the fuck out.
That's good,
is
though.
Great.
That's great.
Yeah, and I mean... You know, we were kind of off on the side where you could just kind of see her kind of through some people's heads, and you could hear everything perfect. Yeah. So I was just hanging out over there. And I mean, I walked up a couple of times and looked, but I'm like, it's hot and I don't want to squeeze in all these people.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it was cool. It was like 45 minutes, and she played what you expect. She even played Cherry Bomb, and she did Close My Eyes with the guitar, is it Patrick Kennison?
Okay.
Is that who her guitarist is?
I think
one of her
so,
guitarists is right now. And, you know, he sounded good. And, yeah, so, I mean, it was cool. I mean, Lita Ford's one of those people from that era that, you know, still sounds great, puts on a great show. She didn't play Living Like a Runaway, which kind of sucked.
Well,
she didn't have the time for that, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, so very glad to see that still being represented at Rocklahoma like Slaughter was, you know. Or since Rocklahoma was kind of founded on that type of music.
Yeah.
The stuff that we love.
Exactly.
All right, so I guess next up would have been Buckcherry. And I can't imagine... I used to could not imagine a time where I would be somewhere where Buckcherry was and I would just walk off and not even see it.
Yeah.
That's what I did. So you can talk about it.
I mean, I dug it. I mean, you're right. There is definitely a different vibe without Keith Nelson.
Yeah.
It just seems a little bit more laid back. It doesn't seem as electric without Keith Nelson, it doesn't seem, yeah. And so, but I mean, they turned in a good set. They played like half of 2 Tickets to Paradise, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I like a lot of that new album, even though Keith Nelson's not there. Obviously, as you can hear, we're Keith Nelson homers. He was an integral part of that band. And, so, you know, in their set list choices were, I mean, of course they played Crazy Bitch and Lit Up, you know, but, you know, they played Somebody Fucked With Me, and, you know, they played, shit. They just played like, I think they kept it to just newer stuff.
Okay.
So, or I don't know, I'm probably talking out of my ass. I wish it would have been nice to hear Lawless and Lulu or something.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's a different vibe now, so, it wasn't terrible.
So, I mean, Josh Todd sounded good?
Oh, yeah, he sounded great.
Yeah, because that was the other thing, last time I saw him was the last time they played Rocklahoma, which was right after Keith Nelson had left.
Yeah.
I was, of course, being a Keith Nelson, like you said, homer about it, but I gave it a shot, and I just thought it didn't sound the same guitar-wise, and then plus Josh Todd was having the worst performance of his life, I think, that day. So it's good to see that was like a one-off thing.
Yeah. But, Kevin Ritgen's in it, and he was in a band called American Pearl that we loved back in the day.
Yes.
And he was wearing an Outsider's House t-shirt, which was fucking rad.
Okay.
But, I mean,
Check out Automatic.
Yes, Automatic. Okay. What a fucking tune, man. Fuck. That was such a great song. I should have came back and said, they played that just to make you take a shit out of your dick.
Right.
But, it's a different Buckcherry. But, if you don't want to see it, I get it. But, I mean, if they're there, I'm going to go see them. So,
yeah.
I'm
sure I'll come back around at some point here.
Yeah. And like I said, the new record I really like. I really like that single Bent. I think that's a great song. So,
yeah. I mean, I like a few songs on the new album.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to totally diss them or anything.
There you go.
But still, Panther headlined that.
Yeah, see, I didn't see them. So.
Oh, you didn't see them at all?
No, did you?
Yeah, I saw about 3 or 4 of their songs. I got over there and, caught the last, I think it was 4 songs maybe.
Yeah.
And, typical. I mean, it was packed the hell out over there.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, that band, has come a long way.
Yeah, they have. They have.
And, I mean, there's a lot of people that have negative thoughts about that band, but we both fucking love them. Their music's great. Every album they put out's great. They've got a new one coming this year, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And we think these guys can't keep being funny by talking about the same shit over and over, but somehow
they make
Michael
it work.
Starr's got away with words.
Anytime they put an album out, it goes to number 1 on the comedy chart. So, hey, there you go.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, it was cool to see him again, and I'm glad that they're, the second stage is a good spot for him, too. It's a little more rowdy, I guess, and, it's just kind of a fun vibe. So, glad to see them. And then Shinedown was the headliner on the main stage, and that's another thing we talked about, I think, back when we did the lineup announcement. That it's hard to believe that this is the first time Shinedown's ever been there.
Yeah.
Because they're just one of those bands that's like perfect for
it's a no-brainer.
For what Rocklahoma is. It's the type of band that would normally be a headliner or the second band down. So it's surprising it took this long to book them, but they did it. And I actually, at one point, I was a diehard fan of this band.
Mm-hmm.
And over the last few years, I still like them a lot, but I just kind of let up on that because I've not been a huge fan of the last 2 or 3 albums. So I've kind of skipped out on them because they come to Oklahoma, basically Tulsa, at least once a year, it seems like. And I haven't seen them the last few times. So I was kind of, pumped up for this one just because it'd been quite a while. And, I mean, they sound fucking great. Brent Smith's an amazing vocalist. He sounds great live. But, outside of that, it's just kind of, the whole vibe to me is different over these last few albums where it's not as energetic, I guess, is the right word. Just like full on fucking just hard rock at its finest, where now it's just, it's good. It's a good show. The songs are good, but I don't leave thinking that's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, yeah.
But I like that, they put on a good set, and I mean, it started raining right when he started playing Purple Rain, which was kind of weird. So that was cool. Yeah. And then Zach Myers sang that because I'm sure they sing that whenever he does those Zach Myers and Brent Smith acoustic shows they do. But so, yeah, I mean, they were good. So it's good that they were finally there, in my opinion. And that wrapped up Friday night.
All right.
Okay, moving into Saturday, we kicked this thing off at the D&B Processing Roadhouse stage with Zen Hipster.
Of course we do.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Jason here, that's the band that he has been a part of for 20 plus years now.
Yeah, and just got to say, it was a fun set, and thank you to Doug Burgess Roadhouse DEB stage. Thank you to Rocklahoma for having us. It was a complete honor. And it was a really cool thing to cross off the bucket list.
Yeah.
And other than that, all I'll say is, since I was in the band and you were watching, I'll just let you take it.
No, I mean, I thought it was great. You know, I mean, I've seen you guys many times.
Mm-hmm.
I was ready to go live towards the end because I knew you had shown, or I printed up the set list for you or
So
whatever.
you knew.
So I knew the set list. And then I wasn't fully prepared because you guys cut a song out towards the end.
Yeah, we had to cut a song.
And I was like, oh, damn. So, like, my live video was a little like me stumbling around and shit at first. But anyway, yeah, I mean, you guys always sound great. You know, a lot of the people around that I think hadn't seen you that we knew, like John Winnie and James and Travis Davis and everybody, you know, was standing around. They're like,
Josh Roach was there.
Yeah. They're like, man, that's great. Great to finally see him. Jason Carroll and Kevin Graham
Yes.
were around and they had seen you guys.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, that was really cool. Something that, you know, a few years ago, you would have laughed if we had said that was going to happen.
I wouldn't have had any, I would have been like, yeah, right. You know?
But I mean, so what was, like, did it feel like to be up on one of those stages different than just like a stage at a bar or something?
It was, I was pretty cool about it, you know, all week and leading up to it. And I don't know though, but and even on stage getting ready to play, I was cool, you know, but once we started playing, I got kind of nervous.
Okay.
You know, so that's the biggest thing I've ever been a part of.
Yeah.
So, you know, it wasn't without its nerves, but you know, we got through it. It's good.
So that was a bigger than playing my backyard in 1996?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
It was, but the problem we had at Rocklahoma is we should have played Lump.
That's right. Should have brought that back after all these years.
Hey, we played that just for you because, you know.
Just because it was my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The one and only. Yeah, like if you looked at setlist.fm and it has the counts of how many times the band played a song, Zen Hipster would say Lump 1.
1. That's
the
right.
one and only time.
That's right. And then, you know, right after us, Solidify came through and stomped the hell out of the stage like they usually do.
Yeah.
That was really great.
Yeah, I always like to say no pun intended, but this band is solid as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
They're just 5 dudes that have gelled to make a great, huge, heavy rock sound. And,
yeah,
you know, they don't disappoint from the EP they released a couple months ago. They played those tracks. They played a couple cover medley of Aha and Simple Minds, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And these guys are just great at what they do and have a great following and a great crowd interaction and everything. And another one, just kind of like you guys and Grind and everybody I was glad to see on that stage.
Of course.
And showing everybody what they're made of.
That's right.
Well, after that, I guess the next band would have been, was Hyro the Hero was probably before Bad Wolves, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see that, but you did.
I thought they were great. That guy was walking around in the morning when we were loading in, Hyro the Hero himself. But no, it visibly, obviously wasn't my thing, but, you know, wow, big shocker. They were playing live. Oh my God. How dare they? Jesus.
Yeah, man.
It's fucked that we even have to say that kind of thing. But they were all live, you know, full band, and it was, it was just electric. It was hot. And,
Really?
You know,
that's cool.
Hyro the Hero himself, you know, jumped out in the crowd and the crowd surfed from the back to the front. You know, and it was just a slamming rock band with a rapper. And, you know, what can you say? People were loving it. There's a great crowd. It was hot as fuck. So it was a good vibe. Yeah.
I kind of wished I'd seen that. I just thought it would be a track fest myself. But.
No, it was not. They weren't fucking around, and they're not fucking around because they're all, you know, they're all just in a van, you know, doing the damn thing.
Oh, nice.
More power to them.
Yeah. Well, speaking of throwing the fuck down, Bad Wolves kicked off the main stage.
Talk about some fucking, intensity.
Yeah, this was my top 3 or 4 things all weekend. And I knew that I would like it, but I just didn't expect them to be one of my 3 or 4 favorite things. I'll be honest about it, because of a few other things I thought would be.
Mm-hmm.
But this band, they're already, if you're not familiar, it's kind of like a super group. Not of guys that were huge, but of guys that were in successful metal bands.
Yeah, these guys have been put through the paces.
Yeah, they were all a little under the radar.
Done it all, yeah.
And so they're all together. They made a fantastic album. And thanks to Zombie, they've kind of got name recognition now.
Yes.
So they're on the main stage here. And man, they opened with Learn to Live and just fucking tore that shit up.
Yeah.
And clear into I was getting worried towards the end. I'm like, they're not going to play Officer Down, but thankfully they did right before Zombie. And
yeah.
That was the highlight for me.
Yeah, that was awesome. Fucking our boy Doc Coyle's up there just ripping shit up. It was great.
I'm like, you got
Doc Coyle's been on this show. Look that up.
Yeah, you got Doc Coyle on the main stage of Rocklahoma. You got COC on the side stage. It's like hell froze over.
Yes,
at
I
Rocklahoma.
know. I know. It was good to see.
Yeah, so Bad Wolves, it was just full of power. They were tight as hell. I don't know. Everything aligned for me right there. I'm just like, this band is tight as fuck live, and it's just amazing, and I loved it. So.
Yeah, they were fucking awesome.
If you're one of those people that's blowing them off because you didn't care much for Zombie or Remember When, and you're a huge metal fan, you have to fucking listen to Officer Down.
Yep.
And Learn to Live, and the rest of this album. This band is fucking great.
Hell yeah, they are.
They're followed up by Light the Torch on the second stage. And that's another band that I'm a huge fan of everything they put out. And I think if they hadn't followed Bad Wolves, I would have been a little higher on it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool. Howard Jones is one of the best vocalists in metal. They sounded great. But I think I was just walking over there after that high from what I'd just seen and just kind of, I liked it, but it didn't sit with me in the same way that Bad Wolves did.
Yeah. Well, we roasted in the sun during Bad Wolves, and we walked all the way over to that, I think the second stage was in Claremore, so we had to walk all over the way to that.
Right.
And we were dick smacked after all that, and then it was hot, so we were like, fuck it. We just went and sat down in the shade somewhere.
Oh, okay.
Because we knew we had a long night coming, because it was a good night of music coming up.
Yeah. Well, I went over and checked out Beartooth, because I've heard a lot of people going on about them.
Yeah.
And they were cool. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I'd always put them in my head. I've heard them before on Sirius, but still, I just can't really remember much about it. And I just had them in that category of that stuff I call kiddie metal,
Yeah.
That Hot Topic metal.
Yeah.
And maybe they are, but they didn't really come across that way. The music was a little more riffy and metal than that kind of stuff. And while the vocals were kind of that way, it kind of gave it a different feel because of the music to me. So,
yeah.
No hate there, of course. But, and then Asking Alexandria, I kind of just, same thing, walked over there so I could see a couple songs.
I saw them in passing, yeah.
And, they sound good, not really my thing. We're both a huge fan of,
Danny Warsnop.
Yeah, I was about to draw a blank on his name. On Warsnop's other band, We Are Harlot.
Yes.
A side band he did that actually played Rocklahoma a few years ago.
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal album if you've not heard it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Asking Alexandria, they're good. They had I noticed a lot of people out there, especially in GA, were singing along to their stuff, which is good. And like you mentioned, their stage setup was different, but cool.
I really liked their stage setup. That was awesome.
Yeah.
It was like the backdrop said Asking, and then they had this huge long drum riser that said Alexandria.
It looked like it was almost the full stage.
Yes, it was big and full and the whole thing, and I thought that was really neat. I'm not really familiar with their music, but I just visually that really caught my eye. I dug that.
Yeah. Well, Beasto Blanco was on the Roadhouse stage. This was another thing along with Bad Wolves and Corrosion of Conformity. It's in my top things of the whole festival.
Yeah.
I was just, I was really excited about it because, we had him on the podcast recently. We talked to him. I listened to him a lot leading up to our interview with him. And then, of course, even last year they played here. I was out of town at that point, but, I'd been listening to their couple albums a lot. And then they had this new album that just came out like while we were at Rocklahoma. We Are. And they played a couple songs off that. And of course the other stuff. And they did the Feed My Frankenstein cover. And they're just, this band is fucking meant for the live stage.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, everything, you know, you listen to their music, you imagine everything you imagine it would be. That's what it is. I mean, Chuck Garrick has a huge fucking stage presence. You know, he's Alice Cooper's bass player, so obviously he's been around with someone for 20 years that's a master of that, so he knows what the fuck he's doing. And, you know, Calico Cooper is another person that just has a masterful stage presence. And
Yeah.
this band's just fucking great, you know. I can't say more than that. It's just a live show that you gotta fucking see.
Oh, yeah. I hate that I missed him.
Yeah. Hatebreed.
Oh, man. Dude, that shit, I hate to keep saying this, it's just good for the soul. It's just, you know, you see a band like Hatebreed with, you know, their intensity, but their positivity as well. And just like, you know, they're playing like the most brutal music, brutal hardcore, but they're all positive, smiles on their faces, they're fun, it's just, dude, I love that fucking band.
Yeah.
I love them. And they don't fuck around. They're not leaving any stone unturned. Just another definite highlight of the whole festival for me.
Yeah, for sure. And we always talk about, you know, how much we love this band. We saw them at the Canes this past fall.
Oh, man.
Matt Byrne, the drummer, was on this podcast
definitely.
around that time. So check that one out. And this band, like, it's one of those bands that, because you said, you know, they're a hardcore band. So they're not a band that's ever been mainstream where if someone just listens to shit on the radio, they're going to know anything about them.
Yeah.
So I'm always over there, like, thinking I'm going to see people walking off because they're like, I'll just go in to see what it is and they'll walk off. But it's not. There's a huge crowd over there and people, if they're not singing along, they're still into it. And I'm just like, that just makes me happy as hell to see, you know?
Yeah, it's as it should be for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, because Hatebreed's another one of those bands I never would have imagined you'd see at Rocklahoma a few years ago. And now they've been there twice.
I know, it's great.
And to cap that off after them was Sevendust.
God damn.
On the headliner of the second stage that night. And the first thing that, you know, the main thing I walked away from of that, besides the fact that it's Sevendust and they're amazing, is it was fucking great to see Sevendust when it was dark.
Yeah, I know.
At Rocklahoma.
Yeah.
Or any festival, whatever.
Not at 3 p.m, sweating my balls off.
Right.
You know, and they left it all out there. Great set. I mean, you know what's happening with Sevendust. You know what you're going to get. And, I mean, it was just, you know, they played, oh God, why am I drawing a blank?
They open with Dirty. Yeah.
What's that one, the last song they played? God damn it.
The very last song,
Yeah.
Face to Face?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Face to Face. I was almost going to say that, and I'm like, no, that's not the title. Anyways, you know, everyone's singing along. I mean, it's just a fucking great vibe. Yeah,
they covered the whole gamut of the thing, because they played Bitch from the first album. They played Thank You from 2 albums ago. They played Dirty, you know, and
it was so good.
Face to Face was from, the second album? So, yeah, I mean, this band, we cannot stress enough, is the most underrated metal band of all time.
Oh, man.
I don't
Hands
know.
down.
I just labeled it that. How about
Hands down.
And they're always one of the best bands on any bill they're on. And like I said, I'm so glad that they, you know, as a person who has a seat in VIP pretty close, I always like a band to be on the main stage.
Mm-hmm.
But when Sevendust is on the main stage at Rocklahoma, like you said, it's at 3 or 4:30.
Which is fucking stupid.
And you know, this band,
but they'll put some goddamn track fest horking fiber chunk fucking sucking motherfuckers. And, you know, with no bass player, they'll put, I don't know. Fucking, I don't get it. Whatever.
But I
don't know.
Yeah. Them getting to headline the second stage, you know, it gives them that level of respect that they deserve.
That's right.
The crowd was packed out over there. It was great.
They're the Ramones of metal is what they are.
There you go. That's a good point.
You know, because they're consistent. They've been going. They don't stop, you know, and their fan base is loyal. They're legendary at this point. And
they've got all 5 original members.
Yes. So there you
20
go.
20 plus years later.
That's right.
So yes, Sevendust. fucking A. Their newest album from last year was amazing as well.
Yes.
And John Connolly has been on his podcast.
Yes. So, go back and listen to that.
Yeah. So to round out that day, Korn was on the main stage.
Yes. Korn has not been on this podcast, but when we interviewed Julian Kay, Jonathan Davis walked by.
That's right.
So
he has technically been,
yeah,
you can hear audio of his footsteps.
Yes. So that's awesome. His footsteps have been on the podcast. But Korn was great. I have to say, I've been back and forth with Korn over the years.
Yeah.
They fall a little bit under, just people a little bit younger than us are way more into them than we are, I think.
Right.
Just a little bit younger. But it doesn't matter. We loved Korn when they came out. They didn't sound like anybody, and that's a thing that you can really take home and be proud of. I don't give a fuck if you like Korn or not. I don't care. But they don't sound like anybody. They never have. And bands like that are very rare.
And now a ton of bands sound like them.
Yes, and I'm like jealous of it almost. But I mean, I hadn't seen him since 94, 95 when we saw him here with Megadeth.
That was the only other time you saw him.
Yeah, well, I was there when they were at Rocklahoma, but I wasn't there.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I had a little bit too many of the PBRs that day, and I mean, I was physically there, but so I count this as the second time I've seen him, and it's just perfect hard rock. I mean, it's what. You look at what they're doing, there's no doubt, it's no surprise they're a headliner. I mean, it was just, every song you knew, they were on point with everything. Ray Luzier is a fucking machine.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great, I don't care. I loved it.
Yeah. If you flash back to say 2005 and you said, hey, you're going to go to a show and Shinedown, Disturbed, and Korn are going to be the three headliners.
And I'd be like, what the fuck?
And I would be like, okay, cool. And they're like, which of these three bands are you going to like the least? I would say Korn.
Yeah. In
2005 or 6, based off of those three bands.
Well, I hated Disturbed in 2005, so I don't know.
Well, I'm not asking. I'm talking about myself.
Okay, sorry.
Because I love fucking Disturbed and Shinedown back then.
Shut up. God damn.
I'm trying to paint a picture here. That I would have been like, yeah, fuck that. Korn's going to be the least cool of those three acts.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the exact opposite. They were the best of the three acts.
Yeah.
And like you said, it was just fucking great.
Yeah.
Phil D's bass is just infectious.
Yeah.
And
I like live. Jonathan Davis, he's not some skinny fucking Adidas suit wearing. He's just like, big, burly badass in the kilt, he's a fucking man.
He's starting to get a gut like me.
Hey, I've had this gut since I was like 4, okay? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to fucking hear it. So, and he's just, he's owning it, and he just looks like a badass, and he puts on a great show. And I mean, it's fucking awesome.
I like that he came out there, and when he's just talking, he's like, I'm pumped the fuck up. And he just he wasn't saying that. He looked like he was literally
really, I know.
Like, this is the fucking shit. It's another Korn show. Let's fucking go,
And he was, he was just fucking into it, And that's another thing is I hate to get all weird about this, but just on a personal note, this is probably the soberest I've ever been at a Rocklahoma. Don't get me wrong. I had my drinks, but I just didn't want to get so fucking stupid that I don't remember headliners, because that's happened to me before.
Yeah.
So I really made a point to enjoy as much of the music as I could. And just to be able to see that and that he was purely really pumped. I really enjoyed seeing that. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go.
Yep. I just wish they would have played All in the Family.
I know. They could have brought Hyro the Hero up there for the rap parts, not the guy from Fever 333.
That's right.
Or Tech 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. Which, speaking of, before we finish this day off, Tech 9 was sound checking while you guys were getting ready to play.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know if you noticed that, because you're probably caught up in your own world. And it was fucking loud, because the Zen stage is facing the Roadhouse stage, and they were doing their sound check thing, leading up to right when you guys started. Mm-hmm. And Kevin Graham was over there they better turn this bullshit off, because Zen Hipster's about to, he was literally fucking pissed, you know?
That's right.
And of course, once you guys kicked off, they cut it off because it was 11:30.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Anyway, just thought I'd throw that in.
Well, before we get out of Saturday, I forgot earlier, but I want to say a very special thank you to Michael Davis of Crashing Cranes.
Of course, yes.
He filled in for us. Everybody knows what happened with our drummer Josh. And, Josh is doing insanely 100% better. But Michael Davis filled in, he's such a pro. He worked his ass off, learned these songs, and he performed the hell out of them. And, thank you very much, Michael. You really helped us. You saved us. And, everyone go see Crashing Cranes. They've got some gigs lined up, so go see them. They're great.
Yeah, they're phenomenal.
Yes.
Formerly Murderous Mary, for those of you that aren't familiar.
Yeah.
One of this area's best bands, and they've only been around a little over a year, so.
Yeah, exactly. I know that they're playing June 22nd at the Crystal Skull at that benefit for Heath Bates.
Okay.
Who a lot of you guys might know. He passed away in a motorcycle accident. So that's just off the top of my head. I know that's the next date they're doing. So just everybody, frequent these guys. They're great friends and they're a great band.
Hell yeah.
So that's Saturday. So
Sunday rolled around after the big storms of Saturday night.
Yeah.
That was like the biggest storm of any of them, actually, right?
Yeah, it was. We got through it, though.
Yeah, some hail, lots of high winds, tore up a lot of canopies and stuff, but I think I don't hear of any damages to actual campers or vehicles or humans, so that was the good thing.
Canopy didn't make it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ours didn't, Jason Carroll's didn't. I saw quite a few others that were just strewn about.
Yeah, but you know what that reminds me?
It's almost like a Frehley's Comet came through there.
My God.
No,
awesome segue.
Yeah.
No, the segue was too perfect.
No, go ahead and say what
Well, it's like, how you left and we're like, we'll get that. We'll bunch up your chair and the canopy as best we can and put it by the trash can or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And so we had all of our stuff waiting for, our ride for the RV, and we were just waiting in the air conditioning of my car because it was going to be probably another 15, 20 minutes for him to get there. We had all of our stuff lined up, generator, a couple of chairs, a cooler or two. And these people drove by in their car full of kids. And, it was like this, fucking shady looking car. And, the guy got out, they were looking at all of our shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And he got out and started walking towards our stuff. And so we stuck our head out of the window and was like, hey, can I help you? It's like, oh man, if they're going to throw away this generator, we're just going to fucking take it. I said, no, that's our shit. We're waiting on a ride. You don't need to take it at all. And he's like, so it's not trash? I'm like, no, look, cooler, generator, bags, fuck me. I mean, come on. And the guy's like, oh, well, okay. And, he looked deflated, but fuck him.
Fucking scavengers.
Yeah, I was like, God damn, get the fuck back in your car with your 80 kids and get the fuck out of here.
Go back to Adair, dude.
Yeah, go back and do your
I'm sorry if you live in Adair and you're cool. That's the closest town I could think of.
Yeah, do your fucking meth and go listen to Five Finger Death Punch. I don't know what the fuck to tell you.
That is a good point. I bet that guy that was trying to steal your generator probably likes Blue on Black.
Yeah.
Not the original version.
Yeah, the slaughtered version.
The slaughtered version that from Five Finger Death Punch did.
Yeah, from Five Finger Shit Lick.
Anyway.
Okay, I feel better now. Yeah. Ace Frehley, go ahead.
Yes, Ace Frehley. We both got the chance to see him, and once again, this guy didn't disappoint.
No, he sounded great. I mean, I heard him more than saw him.
Yeah, this is another one where, it was packed out over there at
the Roadhouse stage. It's like that's nothing. I'm not saying that bad. I'm so glad it was packed out.
Yeah.
At the Roadhouse stage. I'm so glad.
Yeah, so you just have to work your way in there if you got there a little late, or get there early if you wanted a good spot. And, but even on the outsides where you weren't inside the tent, had to stand in the sun, you could find spots where you could look in there and see the band. I mean, Ace is getting up there in years, but his voice sounds great. His guitar, of course, sounds fucking great. He's the spaceman. It's gonna sound good, right?
You know this.
And he was kicking out the stuff you expected from a solo. He was kicking out the stuff you expected from his time with Kiss. And, of course, Shock Me. And then He even pulled out the stuff that he wrote that he didn't sing, like Cold Gin, and what am I forgetting? There was another one.
He did New York Groove. Did you already say that?
Well, no, I didn't say that one yet, but
did you Rip It Out?
Yeah, he did. He opened with Rip It Out, I think.
Okay.
And then he did New York Groove.
Rip It Out.
And, of course, Shock Me, and then Cold Gin. And then he ended with Detroit Rock City, which I didn't think he wrote that. Yeah. Maybe he did. Maybe
I don't know. I have no idea.
But regardless, doesn't matter. He's free to play whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, it was a very cool thing. He was at Rocklahoma way back in 2008. Played the main stage. So very cool to see him back and have a huge crowd over there. Because, everywhere you turn, people are huge Kiss fans. So that place was packed out. And very glad to see it. Like you mentioned earlier, Doug Burgess pulled together quite a stage with the Roadhouse stage from top to bottom.
Apart, man. Loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, everything about it. Getting solid people like Ace Frehley, Beasto Blanco, Slaughter, Lita Ford. Mm-hmm. And then rounding it out with all the regional acts like you guys and Solidify, our buddies in the Normandies, and Grind, Dead Metal Society, Doxy, Down for Five, Rocket Science, Poster Child. A huge long list.
That was the way to do it.
Yeah, and it was really cool to just, to see that stage and to see that it was always active and always had a huge crowd.
That's right.
And they even had free Bullet whiskey over there for a few hours each day, so I made sure to partake in that as well. But so then, after Ace Frehley, we had Avatar making their way back to Rocklahoma on the main stage this time, and this is a band that just fucking amazing. Yeah. It's the best way to put it. I mean, their albums are amazing. Their live show is, you could say, second to none. I mean, they're one of my favorite acts of the weekend as well. And, when you think of them between Ace Frehley and Jackyl, it's like a totally different vibe. Yeah. But at the same time, it still feels like fucking rock and roll. Yeah. Even though it's like Johannes is up there putting on a show and an act, it's just a fucking good time. Even though, you got these dudes swinging their hair from fucking Gothenburg, Sweden. It's full on metal. But it's also got a shitload of melody, and I'm just so glad that, they were there and got to see these guys again.
Yeah, I'd never seen them before. It was awesome.
That's right.
I love the fucking King coming up out of behind the drum riser and all that shit. They put on a visual. It was a sight to see. I loved it. So, yeah, fucking Avatar.
And imagine seeing that in the shrine.
I know, I can't. God damn it. I wish to hell I would have seen that in the fucking shrine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be the one that got away.
Yeah.
But
they were followed up by Jackyl Stock 2019.
Jacklahoma. What did he say? I'm going to goddamn play the goddamnedest country song of all goddamn country songs or some shit. I don't know. Outlaw songs, whatever. I mean, Jackyl, what do you say? I fucking love this band.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care what anyone says. Fucking Jackyl is the shit. They always put on the great show. You know what you're going to get. It's bombast to the fucking core. I mean, fuck, man.
Yeah. Attitude, rock and roll, everything.
Yes.
All four of these guys. It's not just Jesse James Dupree. I've stated on this podcast many times that I have a man crush on Jeff Worley.
There you go.
That never dies. And every time I see
Worley the Pirate.
Yeah, and every time I see him live, it's just a little bit more. Yeah. I'm like, I got to question my sexuality when that man is on stage.
Oh, shit. I'm sure he'd love to hear that.
It's the same with Pepper Keenan.
Yeah.
So it's just like it happens, okay? I'm confident in my sexuality. I can say that. I don't care. And this is 13 Rocklahomas, and we should have counted it up, but I think this is probably the sixth or seventh time.
Yeah, they do every other one, I think.
So they've been on a good half of them now,
probably. It's fucking great, man.
Because they were on 2 of the first 3, and then now they've been there, like you said, I feel like every other year since.
Yeah.
And, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, just Google Jesse James Dupree in Rocklahoma, and you can find stories of why he's there every other year, because he's a huge part of why Rocklahoma made it to the point that it is, existed past the first 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Got him hooked up with AEG and everything.
He's the one that facilitated that. So,
yeah.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. All you Seether fans out there that hate on him, you need to fucking kiss his ring, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have we wouldn't have Rocklahoma probably. It would have stopped in 2009. So show some goddamn respect.
Right. But yeah, just a great set of the Jackyl classics, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing I love about Jackyl Live is that most of the bands from that time period, even though they're not technically an 80s band, they didn't come around until 92.
Yeah.
But they still get lumped in with those bands. They all, like you would expect, it's a nostalgia show, and you'll get one or two new songs if you're lucky. But Jackyl's kind of almost like now, like half their set is shit that's came out in the past 10 years.
I know, which is great.
Like you got My Moonshine Kicks Your Cocaine's Ass, which is like a staple now.
Yes.
That people expect just as much as
When Will It
Dirty
Rain
Little
or,
Mind.
Yeah, or Lumberjack or whatever.
And then you've got the newer stuff like Encore and Screwdriver that you hear every time you see them now.
That's right.
And then, of course, all the old stuff. And, you know, I mean, and throughout the years we've seen them, they always change that set list a little bit. Because, you know, we were talking about, remember times they played Push Come to Shove. They played Secret of the Bottle. They've played that one, like the second or third time they played Dumbass Country Boy.
Yeah. God,
You know?
I love that song.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if they ever played Headed for Destruction out there, but like you said, if they did, you'd probably...
My brain would have fucking exploded.
That's right.
But this would be a perfect band for IDL.
That's right.
Just saying.
Yeah, if only we knew someone that would book someone like this at the IDL.
Wait.
Right.
But wait, we do.
That's right.
Doug Burgess, are you listening?
DUB Concerts is a sponsor of this podcast.
Yeah.
And maybe in the future,
I'm telling you.
you will see chainsaw dust all over the floor of
That's
IDL.
right. That's right. I hope so.
Yeah, and then Tom Green can make Billy Bristol clean it up.
That I would love to see that.
Yeah.
I'd videotape it.
Right. Well, yeah, so Jacklahoma 2019 was as great as every other Jackyl stock. You know, you can't complain.
No.
Then we got some Blackstone Cherry on the side stage, and this is kind of similar to the deal with Sevendust, where it's a band that never gets the just due they deserve,
That's right.
especially on a festival lineup. And to see them, you know, they got moved to the second stage so they could get that higher spot. You get a little more, it's a little more of a respect thing, I think, and it's cool. You go over there and to see that, you know, they've still got a big crowd of people over there. And, you know, their set was, you know, heavy on the newer stuff, but that's the way they've shifted. We've talked about over the last few years.
Definitely, yeah.
And I mean, they're great. They're Blackstone Cherry.
Yeah, I mean, they're a class act. They're a powerhouse in rock and roll. You know, they just don't get the pop that they deserve in America. And I don't know. I think that's criminal.
Which pisses you off to no end.
It
pisses
does.
me off, but I know
it does. You know, you've got whack jobs and dunce caps running around stage, dudes in fucking spacesuits singing to a million fucking tracks. You got a goddamn rapper with no bass player and a fucking, I mean, but.
And a guy butchering songs by the Animals, Bad Company, and Kenny Wayne Shepherd.
Yeah, but Blackstone Cherry has to go on at 3 on the main stage and play 25 minutes. Everywhere else in the goddamn world, they're a headliner. They headline arenas.
Wembley Arena.
Yeah, if you don't fucking believe me, look it up and then go fuck yourself. I mean,
do it in that order.
Yeah, I don't understand. They are exactly what rock and roll is and what rock and roll needs, and why they aren't bigger in this country. I just don't get it. I mean, they're what you're looking for. They're what you want. I don't get it. Put down your monster and go fucking listen to this band.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm done. My blood pressure's pretty high right now. So.
And now they all 4 have Thunder Underground koozies.
That's right. Because thank you to Michael Thrasher. We got, gave him some, what'd you give him? Koozies and stickers and.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. I love that.
So yeah, then Bush came out onto the main stage.
Bush, I love Bush. I'll say it. I don't care.
I went over there and watched them for about half their show, and I've
put on a great set.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this last time they played, and you know, I've seen them at other festivals, and this is a band that many people that know me know the hatred I've harbored in my soul for this band throughout the years.
Same here for a lot of years.
Yeah.
I just really,
And it's like one of those things where, like, I still count Glycerin among my top 5 least favorite songs of all time.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the fact that you see them live and they're solid, they're good, they're energetic. It's a good show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't, you know, I'm a good enough person to say that I don't have to like the music to see it and realize that these guys are good at what they fucking do.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And it's just one of those things. You think about it, you know, they did their whole set and what you knew every song except for the John Wick song. I mean, it's just, you think about it, it's like, you see everybody's reaction and it's just a great vibe. And I love seeing them.
Yeah. You forget how many songs they had that you knew, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, so good for them.
Yes.
I guess.
Yes. I'm on the train.
Yeah.
I'm on the ride.
Well, Disturbed closed that night out, and that's a band I know you've never liked and I always liked. But
guess where I wasn't on Sunday night?
You weren't there.
Wasn't seeing Disturbed.
You were drinking in the campgrounds,
Yep.
right? But no, I mean, I watched them. It had been a while since I seen them. And, well, no, I saw them at the last time they were at Rocklahoma. But I was in the pit area in a bad spot. And there's certain spots in that pit where if you get, it's kind of lower and everything just, the bass overtakes everything and you can't hear it very good. But anyway, so it's the first time I'd seen them in a while. And the main thing that jumped out at me was this is a band that's kind of known for their theatrics, their explosions and fire and stage show and, you know, just metal type shit. And they had none of that. And it was just stripped down to 4 dudes on a stage with literally nothing. The drum riser was probably 3 foot high, if that. It probably wasn't even 3 foot high. It might have been 1.5 feet. Mm-hmm. It was like one of those low level drum risers. Then there was a backdrop back there. There was no amps. There was absolutely nothing else on stage.
That's
and
cool.
I just thought that was kind of cool because this is a band that the type of band you don't see that from. That I don't think they depend on the other stuff, but it's kind of what you would expect from a band like that. And to see them stripped down to that, I thought was really cool. And, you know, they sound good. They have their tracks in the background, but it's all the, what's the right word? All the extra shit.
Yeah.
You know, the beginning of the electronic sound and stuff. There's no, you know, everything else is live.
Yeah.
And he sounds great. He's like the exact opposite of what we're talking about with Jonathan Davis, where he's way more serious and, you know, his whole, you know, uppity look at me type thing, whatever. He sounds good and that's all that matters to me. And, you know, they did all this, like during Sound of Silence, they brought out, there was like 6 or 8 of them on stage. They had someone playing the cello and a violin and what's his name? The drummer was playing the timpani thing. Yeah. How you say that? And then, but yeah, I mean, they did a couple of acoustic songs and they sounded good, you know, so there you go. That's basically it.
And there's our Rocklahoma this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So once again, we've been to all 13 and I've never been to one where I didn't love it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we keep going back, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So to wrap it up, once again, a huge shout out to Steve Murdoch.
Yes.
Chris Taylor for what they do in the campgrounds there. And of course now Doug Burgess, what he's bringing into the Roadhouse stage. I'm really excited to see how that develops in the years to come.
Me too. And I think Proving Ground stage needs to be moved up somewhere.
That's a good point.
He deserves that. He
really
does.
You mentioned it with the second stage about how it was a huge long walk.
Yep. Compared
to years before, and I don't know that will ever change back, but
it won't. It won't. It's easier for them.
Yeah, I understand why they're doing it.
Yeah.
And you know, the Roadhouse and the Zen stage are pretty far back there, so it kind of makes it hard from a fan's perspective to run back and like you're going to either miss the beginning of someone or the end of someone else if you're wanting to see the 2 bands that are lined up against each other because it's like a 5-minute gap and it's going to take you more than that to get to where you need to go.
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, those are small complaints, I think, for something like this. And Steve Murdoch's, like you said, stages way on the back end of the festival.
Yep.
And I just think, you know, throughout you know, it should be moved up, but we'll see.
Yeah. So if you're fat, bring a lot of Gold Bond. That's what I did.
Right. But so, yeah, Rocklahoma 2019 in the books. And for those of you that came by and said hi, bought shot glasses and stuff like that, we appreciate it. And, you know, we will.
Signed the banner. Thanks for that.
We'll see you in the years to come.
That's right.
And, of course, in this next year leading up to 2020.
Of course.
You know, hopefully next year we get System of a Down. So there's another headliner that Jason's pissed off about and I'm really happy about.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Remember when I really liked them and you didn't?
No, that was never the case.
Oh.
You're thinking of Korn.
Oh, okay.
Because when Korn first came out, I didn't like him at all, and you guys loved him.
I see.
And then I started liking him, and you guys quit caring.
I see. Okay.
But no, is there any band that you hope's there next year besides Metallica?
Shit, man.
And
I can't even
Behemoth.
think.
You think Behemoth will be there?
No, I'm going to see them in Dallas, though, in September.
That's right.
Fuck, I can't even think right now, man. Like, you know, we've seen so much. I come back to me on that one.
Okay. Yeah, because we usually mention that at the end.
Yeah.
I can't think outside of, like I say every year, Ugly Kid Joe.
No, I know. Well, that'll never happen.
Yeah. You never know.
Yeah,
we got Big
true.
Wreck one year.
Yeah, I know.
Did you ever expect that?
No,
And now COC.
Yeah.
But yeah, so once again, a huge thank you to everybody for checking us out. And if this is your first time listening, and you're wanting to hear about past Rocklahomas, we've done this for the last 4 of them now.
Yeah.
5. Is this, we started in 2015, so 5 Rocklahomas that we've done this on.
That's right.
And yeah, the other thing to mention that I was going to mention up front, just now I remembered, was this is our 4-year anniversary now.
It is, because we started
It was like in May 20-something.
Yeah.
So here we've made it 4 solid calendar years.
Happy 4th.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, just go back and like we mentioned, all those bands that have been on the podcast that played Rocklahoma. There's a ton of other people like Gene Simmons. Like we mentioned, I didn't mention the Avatar.
Yeah.
He was on here.
Yeah, he was.
But there was a ton of bands. We've got 221 previous episodes now for you to check out, and you can find us on SoundCloud, Google Music, Stitcher, iTunes, all that great stuff. Find us on all the socials. Find us and follow us. Find us on YouTube at Deep Thunder Underground. We've got a lot of videos up on there. We should have more coming this summer.
Yeah.
Give us a like and a follow anywhere that you are listening to us, because that helps us out as well. Until next time.
Thunder Underground, y'all.